Hello, how are you? Yes, today we will talk about uh, some funding options, how we can search grants and funds for our innovative projects. If you have any innovative projects idea or you are working on, of course, you are struggling about finding money, and it's very critical thing. And it is not easy, very tough thing because there are there are different opportunities, but at the same time there are huge competition. So today, briefly and in a short time, I try to explain what can you do, maybe as a starting point, what you should understand before starting a grant search or a funding search. I have an article about it. I will use this article to follow a structure, but of course you can read afterwards. This is my article. How can you find the money for your project? Uh, Generally, of course, if you are in starting point, if you're in your project as an idea, first of all, you have to verify your idea. This is very important. Starting, start to search new funding opportunities beforehand. You should be sure about your project idea. This is very critical because unfortunately a lot of people are believing their ideas but they don't make a proper research and they don't verify their ideas feasibility, and it is very critical because afterwards you are spending a lot of time for grant applications, for funding search, angel investor meetings, but unfortunately these are generally unsuccessful because of your idea is not validated. And on the other hand, a lot of investors or grant uh, evaluators uh, doesn't say anything about this. They don't make an explanation about why they don't accept really your idea, and they don't want offend you generally. But this is very important, and you are spending your time, your money, so you have to be sure about your project. I think this is very critical to understand. Of course, mainly when you find an idea or when you are working something, it is interesting, you feel that it's perfect. But first, go outside of your project and, like an evaluator or an outsider, try to criticize your project. I think this is very important, and you can do this. There is a lot of course, resources you can do. You can use just Google to understand your competitors. You can look at different reports, project-related data, and of course, you can try to find some experts from LinkedIn, Twitter, also in social media. Try to ask questions to them, and of course try to take feedback of your potential customers, and all these process try to be very open-minded, because when you patiently explain your idea, your project, people generally not to make a bad feedback to you. Okay, they generally say, okay, this is a good idea, I like it, but they don't really like it. So because of that, you have to open to new ideas, you have to open criticals critics. I think this is very important, and maybe it's a simple thing, but it's very important. If you don't do this, please do, and find people, talk to people, take their ideas, and not a good feedbacks is important. More important, bad feedbacks. Try to find bad feedbacks about your project, your idea, and search your competitors and try to find cutting edge technology on the market and compare yourself with them and try to find unique selling point, why people want to buy from you. This is very important, and you should first you should uh, create a clear uh, vision about your project before going any grant application or any investor meeting. Because of that, you have to be sure about your project really, and it should be, of course, supported with data. Data is very important. If you just talk to people, make some searches, take their ideas, is cool, but you have to touch the data about your project, and it's very important because data generally, if you don't force it, generally don't lie. So try to find proper data about your project, and it can support your project, or it can be a problem for your project. This data can create a big critique about your this project, but be open mind and embrace all results, and try to give your decision according to these data and feedbacks. Go or no go decision, I'm calling that, and it's very important. And of course, you have to define your goals. Your goal shouldn't be, I want to something like Airbnb. It's not a goal. You have to really create a goal for your project. I don't want to say all startup ideas should have a big an ambitious goal. Yes, it can, but sometimes it can be a simple idea. It can be important, and maybe it doesn't have a very big ideas behind it. Just it tries to solve a problem of some group of people. Yes, this is very valuable. But define your goal. Again, you should try to understand problem of your customer. But yes, you are solving this problem. But at the same time, you can create a bigger goal, bigger target for your project or your company. This is another important thing. Sometimes we are missing out that kind of points because we want to go directly to result, and give a make a go or no go decision and be honest about it. Sometimes you can say that okay, this is no go project because of it's not feasible, customer relations is not easy, and financial return will be low. So do this. Give a no go decision if you are not sure about your project, and this is very important. And you can earn a lot of money and lot of time just giving this no go decision if it is giving in a good after good evaluation and after good research. This is very very valuable for you. If you take go decision in that point, you have a strategic plan, you have a marketing plan or business plan, and you understand what you will do. This is very important. Maybe you can make small a plan for how you will find an investor, or which kind of grants will be okay for you to apply. This plan is very important. How you will fund your project. This is very critical, and you have to make this plan really at the beginning of the project. And I want to talk about uh, a method to estimating the maturity of your technology. This is very important. We are same page with all in the grant applications. When you talk with and investors, you can use technology readiness level. The European Union accepted is in measurement way. So it's basically understand, and at the same time it's the ISO standard, and it's basically helps you understand where are you, and you can define it with just one number. Of course, it is between TRL 1 and TRL 9, as you see. I hope you can see that. And TRL 1 is basic principles observed, and TRL 9 is actual system proven in operational environment. So some projects can, of course, be different, but at the end, all projects have similar structure. So you have to make a research, first of all, and of course, then development, and at the end, deployment. So if you can define your TRL, technology readiness level, it will be important it will be useful to define what kind of grants are available for you, or what kind of uh, investors can be more beneficial for your project. So basically, there are a lot of resources about TRL level things in the Google, so you can search it. But basically, you try to define your project's TRL level. It will change, of course, according to your development plan or your uh, your business plan. But at the end, you try to define it, and it will be important. You will see that. Generally, in the research level is in the TRL1, TRL2, TRL3 is so experimental and proof of concept layer things. So they are in starting point, technology concept, and it finish with proof of concept. When you make the proof of concept, then you can start the development stage, and we call that technology validated in lab. In lab is not important, but we can say that technology validated in the controlled environments. We can say that. And TRL5 is technology validated in relevant environment. With what we mean, you are developing, for example, a software for engineers, and if engineers are tried in their working environment, yes, this is cool because we can say that this technology is validated in relevant environment, and technology demonstrated in relevant environment is a demo. Demo is very important because you have a prototype of your product, so now you make a demo of it. And TRL7 is system prototype demonstration in operational environment. This finished prototype which working in operational environment, and system complete and qualified is TRL8, and TRL9 is actual proven system proven in operational environment. And TRL9 is at the end of this process. This means that you are on the market, really on the market is a competitively, not you are in the beta, you are really on the market. So it's important to reach, of course, TRL9. Uh, and because before to search for the funds, you have to decide how much money do we need. Of course, you have to put the realistic figures to this answer of question, because how much money do we need? Yes, we will need maybe a lot of money to reach TRL9 to the end of the all processes, but we have to make a step-by-step planning for the funding. So how much money do we need to carry our solution or product to another readiness level or more mature position? Because this is important. If you go step by step, it's easy to find investor, and investor can put short-term targets to them for the return of investment. I think this is very critical. And then ask, when do we need the money? This is another important question. Cash flow is everything for a startup, so you have to define when do we need the money. And you can divide this again phases maybe, or maybe some quarterly calculations you can make, and you can say that we need that much money in first quarter and in second quarter and third quarter. This is very important to understand this, because when we make this plan, uh, we we just not waiting for the money. We make a plan how we will use the money and when we need this money. And of course, the third question is, how do we use this money? This is another critical thing. Some new startups, especially working on innovative projects, they want this money, for example, hire key team members or develop main product. This is very questionable, because you are just have an idea and you try to develop a new thing. You are in the beginning of the project, like TRL2 or TRL3 in the research point. There are a lot of risk there, and you are going an investor, and you are saying that, or you are going a grant application, and you are saying that I don't have, for example, software developer, and I want to hire a software developer to do the project. This is very questionable, because you don't have a real team, and the key member of your team will be hired by the funding money. This is not a good sign. So please make a real plan, and be sure that you put main important key players or key needs to the project already. Because if you don't have these key points, project already is risky in the early stages. And if you don't have main resources, for example, it can be about, especially it can be about a team, or it can be about your technology you will use. For example, you are not sure about the technology you are using, and you are going that I will select the technology using your funds, your investment. This is not a logical thing generally, and it increases the risk already. It is high, so that you will take most probably a no reply. So please sure and think that You have a money and you will spend for a project. And think about that. First, you will uh, you have to be sure about it is clear, okay? You will somebody will spend money for your project. It can be government or private, it's not important. You have to be sure about that. They feel safe and they will trust to you. So to do that, you should be open to them and you should have a clear plan which mitigate the risk. I think this is very important. And type of fundings. Of course, there are a lot of different type of fundings. And basically, most simple thing is family friend funding. And that is easy. And no, you don't have to give any stock. You don't need to pay any interest. So you can take an early stage. Of course, risk is high, but this is your family, and generally they help you. This is like a support. So it's not a real funding or investment, but at the end is important for a starting point because maybe in a point just in the beginning of the project you try to find an investment, it is very messy, and because the family funding is so important. And second important thing is maybe you see here bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is means you are using own resources. This is your own time, own money, and so this is very another important thing. And again, you don't give any stock share for that, no interest, so you can do this. And basically, bootstrapping is very important. If you make a good bootstrap, in your project with your main team, and if you can develop your project in a more mature level, this will increase your value of your company and it will increase your chance to find new investment in later stages and with more reasonable offers. So because of that, bootstrapping is very important, and try to do that. Try to develop your product as you can or as your team can, because if you can do this, you will make a good advantage in the investment adventure. Other thing is bank loans. Yes, this is an option, but it's not easy again because you have to use your, I think, personal resources for that, because normally as a startups it's not easy to take that kind of bank loans for as an enterprise. But you will pay high interest, of course, and just for the idea, it won't be easier. You have to something to show the bank, so it should be more or less in TRL4 or TRL5. And of course, it's not easy to do that. The best side, you don't give stock, your company stock to anybody, but of course, it's a bit challenge for a new company to take a bank loan. Now we are coming to other stages. Angel investor, you know that. And angel investors are, if you are in the early stage and they want a lot of share from your company, it's normal. And don't pay interest to them because it's not a loan. This is just an investment. But it's very critical because you have to make a good plan, and you have to. Angel investors are generally want to take place on your operation, so you have to evaluate that part of it. It's not just money; it's a smart money, and if you don't agree about the vision of your company with the angel investor, it will be a huge problem for the future. And the grants are very well because government is paying them, and there's no, you don't give any stock for this, you don't give any interest. They are just grants and government grants, and they are perfect for a company, especially in the research and development stage, because you have a very high risk and government can pay this money, and they support your company. It is a perfect option if you want to, especially when you want to make a research and development, because you can't find generally research and development activities an investor. It's not easy to do that because research and development is a high, maybe the highest risky activity in a startup. And the other thing is a venture investor is the bigger rounds. We can say Series A, Series B investment rounds. Of course, you have to be more mature. You have a product. Maybe you have some paying customers. So in that, after this point, you can find venture investors, and of course, in that point, you have to give more a solid business plan to them, because you know your customer and how you have a growth plan. Maybe this very applicable thing. Yes. Uh, If you are starting a business new, or you are a startup founder, that's my suggestion. Of course, it's changed. My strategy would be first family friend funding. Of course, if you find money from your family, it's perfect. If can support them, and this is not a small portion. Believe me, a lot of people are using family money for a starting point. And other thing is a bootstrapping. If you have your own resources, your team members come together, working, create, for example, a prototype. And if you can do this without any investment, please do that, because it will carry you in another level. And when doing this, grants are very important. Yet they are very competitive. But if you have a good plan, and grants will help you, especially some research and development areas. If you want to work with the universities, or you have to create a different product from the market, and challenge the market. So that kind of things have a high probability to find grants. So please search grants in that point. Basically, we are talking about investment or grant, whatever, grant application. First of all, everything is a team. Team is very critical, because especially in the idea stage, you can show your strength just with the team. If your team has a past experience, if the team members are high capacity, this increase your chance to take, of course, funds, to find funds, or find grants. So please work on your team, and try to create a good and, of course, multidisciplinary team. Just not just technical people come together and try to make projects. It's not a good sign. But not just businessmen to come together and create an idea. Yeah, this is not a good sign too. So try to create a balanced team, and put your team. In my opinion, you have to put it first slide if you are a new company to your presentation, pitch deck. Uh, then you have to prove the customer interest, uh, because at the end you try to sell something, and you say that I have an idea, I have a project, and I will develop it like that. Okay, but the customer interest is very critical. And it is not easy to show the customer interest to an investor or the grant in the grant application. So yeah, we are using different tools. First, maybe you can develop a minimum viable product. It's very important, of course. Make a proof of concept. Of course, potential customer interest metrics. You can use that kind of things. It can these metrics can be your website visits, the forms to fill it. That kind of things can be used. It changes according to your business, but sometimes you can take some letter of intents from your customers. They can work, because especially for the big customers. For example, you are working on different type of bottling technology, packaging technology. If you take a letter of intent from Coca-Cola, it's perfect sign of interest, and it is important. It makes your life easier in all application processes. So if you can that kind of letter of intents or some data, it will be important to show the customer interest. Otherwise, you will just say that, yeah, customer will like our project because I think like that. This is just your idea, so, or your opinion. And of course, other things, business plan. Business plans are generally, of course, with the financial plan, or especially in the starting point of project, they are so changeable, and nobody can trust a financial plan at the beginning of a project. Everybody knows that these plans are not real, a bit artificial. But why people are looking at these business plans? Because they try to understand. These startup founders have an idea about business plan, company management, finance management, and those are very important for an investor. And if you can make a good plan, at least this plan uh, which can create a good story in the mind of the investor, I think this is a good thing, because and then investors start to think that, or and evaluator in the grant application starts thinking, oh, these people knows their jobs, their business, and they make a good plan, proper plan for it. It can work, maybe it can't. It's not a big deal, but at the end, you have to make a plan, and it should be very concrete. And of course, KPIs for your project. You should put some key performance indicators for your project. I think this is another important thing for your project, and you have to define them if it is possible with some quantitative parameters. And now we come to grants. When we come to grants, of course, grants are uh, paying by the government, and this is government money, and generally this government, and this of course, your project should touch the community a bit. It should be a bit social. Yes, they are paying for profit projects, yeah, but at the end, you should make a contribution to the general economy, and of course, you have to make a contribution to the society. Those are important for the grant applications, and it makes your application powerful. In other words, it will be a bit different from the investor pitch deck. Grant applications are more in the social side, and the grant applications are in the on the other hand is a different uh, approach. So my first advice is please go to website of United Nations, the 17 goals for sustainable development. These goals are generally defined in the United Nations, and it covers a different social problems of all world problems, and it gives a lot of data about these problems, and it is a good starting point. Please try to define your project can touch which problems in this defined problems especially, and you can make a refer to this document, uh, United Nations document about sustainable development goals of United Nations. So this is a very good reference point for your project. And then it doesn't take you too much time, but you can use it. And all, especially grant evaluators in the grant applications, know this document or this movement. So please do that. And second thing, try to work with universities. I think this is another important thing. Want to apply grants, universities can help you in the research and development area, and already they are doing in academic research. And you can combine this academic research, your practical results, and create a good project together. So try to be near to universities and make a research and development plans together, and then it will be easy to go the grant applications because university support can change a lot of things. And try to take consultancy from university research and development departments, and they will help you in that point. I think this is another important thing for a starting point. The thing is potential customer on board. Again, I mentioned already letter of intents, proof of concepts, mutual development plans, customers as is investors. This kind of things you can use. Okay, make your project better. So of course, according to your project, it will change, but try to take customers on board, especially in the applications or the pitch decks. This will make your life easier. Now I want to talk about a bit how you can search grants. Generally, for European Union grants, there is a website, European Union Grant Fund Search Portal, European Union Fund Search Portal. You can use this for search the grants. I can share this link with you afterwards. Basically, this is a website. First, you can register there. You can register your company too, and there is a search system there, and you can search just entering the keywords of your project. You can search different grant opportunities. It is a perfect website. In that point, for European Union grants, there are different grants. Some of them you can apply individually, like AIC Accelerator Program. If you have innovative idea, you can go this application just one as a one company with your idea, with your project. On the other hand, some projects are needs you have to apply with three different countries, three different company come together and create a consortium. Some projects can move like that. Of course, in that point, you have to find some consortium partners to apply that grants, and there are some uh, events for that to find partners if you don't have it already. So this can be a bit challenging, but of course your chance will increase if you enter that kind of horizon projects, European horizon projects, because you will move with in a consortium, and your chance will be higher. In other AIC Accelerator program, for example, AIC Accelerator program is an important program which you can apply individually, individual company as a startup. In that point, your chance not so high because it's very competitive, like 7% or 6% chance you have. So it's highly competitive. But this is your decision. Uh, these applications, another thing in these applications, when you apply at the end of this application, you can take a no-go decision, okay, but they give a evaluation result to you, comments of the evaluators. This is very useful because yes, they don't accept your application, but they give you feedback about your application. And generally, these feedbacks are very objective because they don't know you, they don't have any relation with you, so they just say that, okay, uh, this is not suitable for our project, blah 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 blah. They can say that kind of things. And yes, I talk about AIC program, accelerator program. I have an article about just this program, AIC Accelerator, European Innovation Council, and AIC Accelerator program. This is a total different topic. I don't want to enter there. If you want, you can ask me or you can read my article. And if you are in UK, there's grants for UK companies. By the way, just I want to say that UK companies can apply a lot of grants in the European Union. Despite the Brexit, UK companies are continuing to apply grants. But now I want to talk about a grant for the UK, just grants for the UK companies. There's a UK research and innovation grants generally. And again, there is a website for the search. You see here, Funding Finder. This is the website. I can share again if you want this link with you. But again, you can make search there and to find related funding opportunities. And generally, these grants are, again, of course, competitive, but you can try them. And there is for example, UK smart grant applications. Generally, in each 4 months, they are open this grant. And if you have innovative idea, you can apply this grant, and it's a very competitive but huge grant. It's supporting, like it looks like AIC Accelerator program of European Union. So you can make this kind of applications, and you can of course search, and there are a lot of documents there you can read about the grants. And if you have questions, you can ask me too. And other thing is grant search for local authorities. What I mean from local authorities, from your village or your town or your city, there are different type of. Some of them are so small, but there are some grants which some government gives some supports for in the smaller portion, but it's very important. So you can search that kind of grants as a startup, and it's the easiest way to do it. Go to the local authority. So this is very important, and be aware of it and try to find them. Of course, I can't give a website to you to make a search for them. And for the grant applications, generally they pay 70% of your total project cost. This means that you should find 30% from your sources. So it is an important thing. You need a money to maintain these grant supported projects. So you can find a way, but you have to think about it. And of course, you have to sure about your TRL level. And for example, European Union AIC Accelerator Program accept TRL5, TRL6 level projects. In the beginning, I accept technology readiness, already explain technology readiness levels. If you don't watch from the starting point, I explain it there. You can look that technology readiness level is a scale to measure the level of maturity of your project. Just an explanation for newcomers. Yes, yes, I want to conclude because there's a huge topic we are talking about. First of all, if you want to need more info, just send an email me. I like to share you some documents or some information what you need. Other thing, we as both more technology try to create a newsletter for grant search. Generally, we try to make a grant search newsletter which gives monthly basis some information about which grants are opened, and we want to share with all people. We are already doing this for our company, but we want to share this with the people who don't find time to make the search. So it can be good point for start. So do we have a form for this? Uh, just you can find it from my LinkedIn profile, or I can share with you. Just filling this form, and we will send you monthly basis new grant opportunities. Uh, that's all. I hope you like it. Uh, I hope you like it. I try to explain how we can search grants. Of course, there's mainly websites to search European Union and UK funds. Of course, other countries have their websites to do that. But at the end, you have to do that periodically. You have to search grant opportunities because it's very important especially for a technology or innovative company to find that kind of grants, to make research and development activities. It is not easy because to fund that kind of projects. Uh, yes, thank you very much, and see you again. See you soon. Bye bye.